Granted, I've worked on it for years and years and years since then, and maybe one day I'll show it to you. I by no means am as proficient at it as, say, Aaron Fisher, who, if he wanted to, and I encourage to, by the way, put out a video on the Classic Pass. The man is, I wouldn't say encyclopedic, but he knows his stuff. There are guys out there that know their stuff, and they're keeping it so close to themselves. I just wish they'd release it. Now, as I learned the pass, I did realize through other readings from books and stuff like that I was doing it slightly incorrectly. Some moves were exaggerated, which shouldn't have been exaggerated. Essentially, I narrowed it down to what it needed to be. I've worked on making it invisible. I've worked on timing. I've worked on getting rid of noise, making sure my pinkies don't stick out. I've worked on a lot of things over the years, and I've really only ever truly seen one invisible Classic Pass. And that was by a guy named Jason Tang. I met him at Magic Camp. Everyone who goes to Magic Camp, Source of Safari, will admit, and if you've ever seen Jason Tang, you will admit that this guy is a virtuoso when it comes to sleights. He's not a performer. He's actually, I think he's going to school in Hamilton for kinesiology and stuff like that. And he was the first time, it was him that showed me raised rise for the first time ever. And I must say, well, that's freaking magic. But it's also, if you feel like being paralyzed in your hand for a little while, go ahead and learn it. So essentially, I'm hoping to pick up at this magic auction a few books. I don't know what's going to be available. They don't publish it ahead of time. So from 11 till 4, I've essentially got to stand around hoping to get what I want. And a few times I have been burned by spending all my money early on, only to discover that the very last item at the auction was some rare out-of-print book. I apologize for the bumpy highway. It's Canada, so our highways are in constant state of repair. So, but basically, I'm hoping to come away with like 5 or 6 books that I don't own. I probably will buy a few new books. There's one book that I do want to buy, which is again, the Essential Diapernon. I know I showed you in my other video, that I've got a signed version. However, I'm really hesitant to open that up and crack it open and start reading from it and cracking the spine, especially with what I paid for it. So I'm going to just pick up a regular version, so at least I have something to read. Because there's no point in owning a book if you don't want to read it. And I know that's an oxymoron, but there's some books I just don't want to read. So on that note, what I plan on doing is I'm going to film the auction a little bit as well, just so you kind of see what's going on. It's not like the auctions you see on TV with paddles and stuff like that. Basically, everyone who's going to these things knows everybody. The guys who go know that I'm the book guy. I go for the books. So a lot of them actually don't even price against me, because if I want something and I want it bad enough, they know I'll pay for it. And what's funny is a lot of these books, because people don't read, a lot of these books are so cheap that like your average, like your $80 book up here in Canada goes for like $40. And that's just sad, because there's so much information being missed on and just being, I wouldn't say tossed aside, but disregarded is a better word I would use. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to pay attention to my driving, because traffic's getting a little thicker as I get to Toronto. I might turn it on again later and just point the camera out, so that way you can kind of see where I'm driving to. So if you ever do decide to drive to Toronto and visit the Browser's Den, you've got literally turn by turn. It's like it's Magic Man GPS if you're going just to one place and you live in one town and you're starting exactly one place. So I wouldn't exactly call it good GPS, but hey, if you want to go to the Browser's Den, I might be able to show you how to get there. And also, on another note, someone asked me earlier what my favorite trick was. And I don't necessarily have a favorite trick. I'm fond of several. I like the cardboard theory. I like the oil and water ideas. And I like ace assemblies. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know which ones are the best ones and stuff like that. The oil and water that I use is, I learned it from Larry Jennings. Here, let me just center this camera again. There we go. So yeah, the oil and water I learned from Larry Jennings. Not from Larry Jennings, but it's a Larry Jennings effect. And you know what? I'm just going to let the bumps leave the camera there, as well as the turns. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to point the camera out. This is, I don't want to have to keep trying to rescue the camera as I go around corners. So this is just probably the better way to go. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Larry Jennings Oil and Water. The Ace assemblies, right now I actually use a gimmicked one called McDonald's for Aces. As far as simple power, it doesn't get much better than that. I've narrowed it down. I've gotten rid of a lot of things that just don't suit me, which is, you know, like finding the aces, the cards, and getting everything ready for the actual trick. I just go ahead and slap the cards down and away we go. And then, as I mentioned before, my card warp that I like to use right now is called Hyper Warp from Wesley James. I bought an $80 book, and I've only read like 10 pages of it because I bought it for that one effect, not because I was looking for something. So it just goes to show you, you know, like people know what they want, they're going to go out and get it, and, you know, and pay a price for it. But that one trick has definitely gotten me quite a few recommendations for other tricks and stuff like that, and they've actually, and here's a good thing with the new bicycle playing cards that you can print yourself. Just, you know, log on to the bicycle playing card website, uspcc.com, and go ahead and you can print your own custom playing cards. So I've created business cards, put them on the back, and that's the card I use for a card warp. So that way when I hand it out, they've got my business card built into a trick that they've already used. I'm just starting now to get back into the performing for pay and stuff like that. I work one day a week at a restaurant, and I'm looking to branch maybe 2 or 3 more days. Not that I'm just, you know, greedy for money. It's just I'm starting to get back into it again. I was magicked out for a while. So yeah, on that note, I'll just pause here. I'll turn the camera around. I'm about to go over the Burlington Skyway, and I'll just let you see what it's like. So ignore the trickiness of the camera for now. Turn this around. So this is me heading into Toronto. As you can see, there's cars everywhere. I live just north of Niagara Falls. I'm not going to give you my address. If you're my friend, you'll know where I live. If not, then that's just that's all you need to know. On the Canadian side of the border, so I'm a Canadian. Niagara Falls is maybe an hour and a half away from Toronto, the downtown core of Toronto. Toronto is such a big city that you know, it takes you maybe like 45 minutes to an hour to travel from one side to the other side if you travel through the middle without going on highways. But I've lived in this area all my life. I know it. I'm familiar with it. Sadly, the big cities are just too expensive to live in, so I had to move further away. And I'm happier that way, only because things are cheaper as far as properties and stuff. There's no way I'd be living where I live right now, in a house I live in right now, if I was living in Toronto. I'd be probably in some broom closet they call a bachelor apartment. Only the sad part is I'm not a bachelor, so I'm not sure the wife would like that. And there's, if you look over there, we're just going over some bridge, you can kind of see the skyline there. So I'm going to pay attention to my driving right now. I will let you go, but I will again pick up later on so that you'll be able to see maybe a little bit of the auction. I'll introduce you to some guys, and from there we'll just go ahead and have some fun. Talk to you later, guys.